This is the Louie Tee NETWORK.
Then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs.
In the L.A.B.
Who else could it be? Me, Dormant. Louie Tee, welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on this program. It's cold outside. It's chilly outside those doors. Matter of fact, right now, outside my doors, it's snowing right now. And for those of you on the East Coast, probably doing the same thing outside your doors right now as well. But don't worry, don't you fret. We about to get it nice and toasty here in the lab room. We gonna heat it up. Talking championship weekend. NFC, AFC, both squaring off. The two best teams in both conferences for the right to call themselves the champion of their respective conference and the representative of that conference in the Super Bowl. I think we got the four best teams in the National Football League this season squaring off on Sunday this weekend for the right to go to the Super Bowl. So I think we're going to be in for some really good football. On the AFC side of the bracket, you got Brady, Manning, Patriots, and Broncos. We're talking Brady, Manning, Chapter 17. I'm going to call this the final chapter because this is it. This is it. This is the final time we're going to see these two boys facing off. These two historically good Hall of Fame bound quarterbacks squaring off in their illustrious careers. This is going to be the final time we're going to see these two dueling it out. So, again, enjoy this. Revel in it. Because this is it. You're not going to see these two going at it again. These two iconic football players squaring off against one another again. So, go ahead. Do it up for the last time and pay homage to Brady, Manning, and go ahead and put it to rest after Sunday. And in the NFC side of the bracket, man, I think these are the two best teams in the league, believe it or not. So I really feel like the winner of this game has a really good shot at winning the Super Bowl. And I know the whole Peyton Manning riding off on the right Bronco narrative sounds really good to a lot of people. There are a lot of Patriot haters out there as well, so they would love nothing more than to see the Patriots go down on Sunday. And maybe you don't like Peyton Manning, maybe you don't like the Denver Broncos, but you can't deny the fact that Peyton Manning winning a Super Bowl, much like Ray Lewis, much like John Elway, it's a pretty good Hollywood ending, man. So we'll see. But the NFC side of things, I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna have a lot to say about it because I feel like how I felt for a stretch there where I felt like the NFC championship game was the Super Bowl. And I'm feeling that kind of way. I'm feeling that kind of vibe right now between Arizona and Carolina. That's going to be a heck of a matchup. And so let's jump into the AFC side of things first. That's the first game we'll see on Sunday, 3 o'clock, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the CBS network. Second seeded New England Patriots taking on numero uno in the AFC conference. Of course, I'm talking about the Denver Broncos at Mile High Stadium. And so this is a game where I'm not going to sit here and break this one down and give you the technical stuff because it's Brady Manning, the final chapter. I don't have to do this. There isn't much that Bill Belichick doesn't know about Peyton Manning at this point, and there's not a lot of things that you can say about the Patriots other than it's Tom Brady, it's Bill Belichick. They win. So there's not really a lot that you can go off of here other than, look, the best team is going to win. And I feel like there's key matchups within the football game, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the Patriots offense versus the Denver Broncos defense. I think that's where this game's going to be won or lost. And yeah, the Patriots defensively, they could cause some havoc, force Peyton Manning into a couple of errant throws and maybe force a fumble or two and win this football game on the defensive side of football, but that's less likely to happen than the other narrative, which is Tom Brady either wins the game for the Patriots because they can't run the football. In New England this year, it's done. There's no sense of run whatsoever in New England this season. The fact that Steven Jackson is the one guy that they trust to hand the football off to tells you all you need to know. He's 77 years old. You're not going to get a lot of mileage and usage out of Steven Jackson at this point of his career. The Patriots, simply put, are going to win this game on the right arm of number 12. And if Tom Brady has a game like he had last week versus the Kansas City Chiefs where he basically can do no wrong, then the Denver Broncos are going to be in some serious trouble in this football game. But if they can find a way to get to Brady, make him uncomfortable, and look, it doesn't have to be turnovers, just getting them off the field and forcing them to punt the football and giving it back to your offense is a win in itself if you're the Denver Broncos. You just need to stop that Patriots offense and don't allow them to get into a rhythm. And I think the Patriots have a deficiency on special teams. I think the Broncos are really strong and have been great on special teams, especially in the postseason. Last week, I thought they were phenomenal special teams wise. If they can do that again, they're going to have a great shot at winning this football game. Defensively, it's this simple. The Denver Broncos probably match up as well as any other team in the league with the New England Patriots. And that's why I think that the Denver Broncos are going to have an advantage on Sunday when this game gets underway, is because this defense can match up man-to-man across the board with the exception of probably Gronk. They can match up man-to-man with every single receiver the Patriots have. And they feel good about those matchups. They feel like they can win. And then they got guys that can hunt after the quarterback and make Tom Brady uncomfortable, whether it's Derek Wolfe, whether it's Von Miller, whether it's DeMarcus Ware. They feel like they've got guys that can get after the quarterback and make Tom Brady uncomfortable. And I feel the same way, and I think that's where this game is going to be won or lost for the Denver Broncos, is on the defensive side of the football. They can get stops. It'd be nice if they could force a turnover or two, but they don't have to necessarily do that. Keep the Patriots under 24 points. Give yourself an opportunity to win this game. By hook or by crook, the Denver Broncos have won this season, and it hasn't been pretty. There hasn't been a lot of blowout victories like there were in the past with Peyton Manning at quarterback, where they were lighting teams up like pinball machines and scoring 40 and 37 points. This team has been eking by, getting victories at the end of ball games by the skin of their teeth all season long. Okay, so they've been in these situations. They know what it takes to win in close ball games late. That game last week was a tight ball game that they had to pull out late. This is a team that's been there, done that. They understand what they're going to have to do to get it done. And I feel like being at home with the type of defense that they play, with the advantage on special teams, as long as Peyton Manning, and I said this last week, and I think the same thing applies this week, as long as Peyton Manning and that offense doesn't turn the football over. If they don't make any mistakes, if they don't give the Patriots any short fields, and they force the Patriots to have to go 85, 80, 70, 75 yards, 90, 95 like last week against the Steelers, yards for touchdowns, they're going to be in pretty good shape. They're going to have a great chance of winning this football game. And I see the Denver Broncos winning this game. And I think Peyton Manning actually didn't play that bad last week. With all those drop passes, you go ahead and factor those in. I thought he actually played a solid game. If he can connect on one or two deep balls, that's the one thing we haven't seen him do with any consistency this season, is hit the deep ball. If he can hit one or two of those in this game, loosen up that Patriots defense and make them respect the fact that this team can take it over the top. Really like the Denver Broncos in this football game. And I've been on record for a very long time this season of saying I thought it was going to be Denver and Arizona going to the Super Bowl. I'm not moving off of my Denver prediction. I'm going with the Broncos in this game. I think they're the better team, and I think they're going to find a way to get it done. I think they're going to find a way to get it done defensively, which is where they made their way this season. And I think they're going to find a way to do it once more and win this football game on the defensive side with a late stop of the Patriots, 26-20 to preserve the victory and make it to Super Bowl 50. You go to the NFC side of the bracket, and I just told you how I felt for the majority of the season. And I'll tell you what I think in this game and why I think the way that I do. But let's look at these two teams and how they stack up. The fact that we're talking about the Panthers and them being the number one seed, it's just fascinating to me, because we've talked so much about what this team isn't and what they aren't and why they shouldn't be. But let's talk about why they are and why they're here and why they're the best team in the league right now, statistically and record-wise. This is a good football team, and they've got a chance to be great if they can hoist the Lombardi Trophy. And the level of disrespect shown to the Panthers this season has been astonishing. Astonishing. Matter of fact, let me change that. This is my rallying cry for them. The level of disrespect the Panthers have been shown this season has been disrespectful, is what it's been. This Panthers team has done nothing but win, and win convincingly in a lot of games this season. They've blown some leads, but they were up big in those games as well. This is a team that we saw slaughter Seattle in the first half last week. I mean, absolutely dismantled them in every sense of the word, and they allowed them to fall back into the game late. But look, at this point, we know who the Panthers are. They're a damn good football team. And I'll put roadblock after roadblock after roadblock in front of them all season long, and they've cleared each and every single, including the one I put in front of them last week. I said, okay, if you're really serious, here go the Seattle Seahawks, your nemesis, coming to your place. You beat them already once this year, beat them again. Show me, because in order to beat a champ, you gotta beat the champ. In order to beat a man, you gotta beat the man. So go and beat the man. He said, no problem, man. We already did it once this year. We can do it again. And that's what they did. So I'm tired of disrespecting them. I'm tired of doubting the Panthers. And I stopped doubting them about, let's call it week 14. When they beat the Giants, and I thought they were going to beat the Giants, I said, you know what? Every roadblock I put in front of them, I said, go beat Green Bay. You can't beat Green Bay. They undefeated. Go beat Green Bay. And they had just lost their first game, so they were 6-1. I said, beat Green Bay. I said, all right, man, that ain't nothing. They were hammering those boys until they let them come back late in that ball. I said, okay, beat the Giants. And I expected them to do it, but I said, do it anyway. Yeah, we got that, man. They were up 35-7 in that game, man. Stop playing. I said, all right, I'm going to throw a little bit of adversity your way. See how you handle it. He went down big in New Orleans. Came back and won that game. I said, okay. I put the Falcons on. Falcons got it. Okay, fine. How do you respond to that? Came back, throttled Tampa Bay in week 17. Came back, throttled in Seattle in the first half of their divisional round matchup. These boys are ready, man. And so now we're gonna come back to that. Let's go to the Arizona Cardinals side of things here. And then looking at this football team, outside of Carolina, they've been probably the most consistent team all season long. And we know they can score with the best of them. We've seen this team rattle off some convincing victories against some good teams. We've seen them have some close calls against some good teams. At the end of the day, they've been battle tested. They've played a lot of good football teams this season. They beat Cincinnati. They beat Minnesota. They've beaten Green Bay twice. They've played a level of competition that I think exceeds anybody in the postseason right now that's left. They've played a tough schedule, not to mention Seattle twice, St. Louis twice. This is a team that has been battle tested, and they've gotten it done. They played the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've done some really good things, have the Arizona Cardinals this year. Won in some environments that were tough. This is a team that I feel like they've got everything going for them right now, and they are confident. They got veteran leaders on this team, and they feel like, hey, this is our year, and we may not get another shot at this, so we got to give it everything we got. We got to leave it all out on the field. For a guy like Larry Fitzgerald, you don't know how many times you're going to get back at this. You don't know how many more legitimate shots you're going to have to win a Super Bowl championship. Same goes for Carson Palmer. There are a number of guys, Dwight Freeney. The list goes on and on and on. I think Freeney actually got one with the Indianapolis Colts in 2006, but this is an opportunity for him to get another one, and he may not have another shot after this. And so you got to think there are a number of guys licking their chops at the opportunity. Chris Johnson, go ahead and throw him in there. He's actually going to have a shot to play. If they can win this game, he gets to play in the Super Bowl. There are a number of guys that want an opportunity to win a chip in Arizona, and this team has been probably the most consistent outside of Carolina all season long, and I think they've got as good a shot as anybody if they can get it going offensively. The trick is, they're on the road. It's going to be a tough environment because of the weather conditions. You're going to have to try to get to 27 to 30 points on the road against a vaunted Panthers defense that we saw dismantle the Seattle Seahawks, a team that you've struggled with this season. You're going to have to put it up against them. And we saw what they did to Seattle in the first half last week, so it's going to be a very daunting task. But if anybody, and I mean anybody, is up for that challenge, is Bruce Arians and his Arizona Cardinals football team. And they know that they've got some unfinished business. Remember, it was just 1 year ago that this team came into Carolina, and with Ryan Lindley at quarterback, they were hanging in for 3 quarters before that thing fell apart at the seams. And that has to give them a little bit of confidence. Now, this is a much different Carolina Panthers team you're facing this year. They've got so much more confidence. This is not the same animal that you dealt with last year, that you almost wrestled down last season. This is a much more aggressive, more physical cat you're dealing with with these Panthers, and so it's going to be tough. And if they can establish a running game with David Johnson, if Carson Palmer can settle down, I was not impressed with him last week. And as a matter of fact, he scared me last week because I'm starting to think that those postseason demons, they're real for Carson Palmer. He played poorly last week. Aside from a couple of throws in that ball game, he played poorly, but they still won the game, and that makes me a little bit more confident in the Arizona Cardinals. But I said all of that to say this. At the end of the day, the level of respect shown to the Carolina Panthers, and I don't think people really account for this, and you can't measure this, but that is a rallying cry for them. That is a galvanizing point for this football team. The fact that you're watching programs and it's all Cardinals, yet the Carolina Panthers have the best record in the league, and they haven't lost at home all season long. And the fact that they've been as dominant as they've been this season, and yet we can't wrap our brains around the fact that they don't have a star receiver, they don't have a star running back, they don't have all the players that you look for in a championship team offensively. And he's throwing a football to Ted Ginn Jr. And you can't believe what you're seeing because they're not supposed to be doing what they're doing, but they're doing it. Their defense is loaded with guys that are stars. K1, star to make it, okay? KK is a beast. I've been telling people about him all season long. They're finally starting to see it for themselves. We know about Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. You know about Josh Norman. This team is chocked on the defensive side of football, full of players that can get it done at a very high level. Some of the highest levels that we have in this league. So, they have everything defensively, but offensively, we still can't fathom why this team is good. Stop it. They got Cam Newton. And at this point, with Jonathan Stewart in the backfield, you sprinkle in a little bit of Greg O. That's all the hell they need on the offensive side of football. I said it was going to be Arizona and Denver for the longest time, but the level of disrespect shown to the Panthers, I think, is going to be the motivating factor, the deciding factor. Nobody believes in this team but them. And because of that, I feel like they're going to find a way to win this game. I changed my mind. Carolina Panthers, Denver Broncos, Super Bowl 50. Book it. I'm 7-1 in the postseason this year. I don't think I'm going to lose any games in the championship weekend. Go ahead and write me down for 9-1. Carolina Panthers get it done at home, 27-23 over the Arizona Cardinals. There you have it. Championship weekend in a nutshell. We'll see what happens. If it happens in the National Football League, I can tell you this much. Whether big or small, we cover it all here on L.A.B. Come back and join me as I continue to break down Indy. And now, National Football League. See you after the festivities on Sunday. Bart Scott. Can't wait.
There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie Tee, be sure to follow me on Twitter at In the L.A.B Room, or you can like the Facebook page at In the L.A.B Room. That's In the L.A.B Room on Facebook and at In the L.A.B Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so.
Then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs.